Bonga. A Murray miracle to the playoffs.
Hello and welcome back to the Eastman Sport Report. I am once again joined by my co-host Stephen Eastman, and I am your host, Maxwell Eastman.
Yes, welcome everybody back to Season 2 of your Father-Son Coach-Player podcast, where we talk about the San Francisco 49ers and the Sacramento Kings. It's great to be back for Season 2.
It's great to be on video for Season 2.
And if you're on YouTube, you can see us. If you're on Spotify, hey, you get the audio. Good job. There you go. So
thank you for listening.
We love our Spotify listeners and our YouTube listeners, both of them. Thank you very much for both listening to our fun project we have together as a Father-Son Coach-Player podcast. Anyway, so here we are in Season 2. What do you have for us today, Max?
What I have for you is my opinion on the entire Brandon Ayuk saga that took too long. It was at some point where I didn't care what happened to him. Well, I cared what happened. I cared if he got traded or not, but it was like, can it just be over already? It took 2 months from it being it looks like he wants out to he demanded a trade to it looks like a trade is going to happen to a trade is not going to happen to I was tired of it. I just wanted it to be over.
I know. I'm very happy with the result.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad he's still on the team. Like, we totally need him on the team. With the Ricky Pearsall news that we get to. So we need him out there. Now, how quickly can he get out there? I think with his rapport with Brock Purdy, hey, and if you're on video, I am wearing my Brock Purdy jersey, so there you are. Okay, so my Brock Purdy jersey. I think him and Brock Purdy will pick up. It'll take, they got about a week here of practice to get going. I think he'll be fine. Now, he probably won't play his normal snap count his first week, but if he's still doing like 60% of the snaps, I think we're fine the first week. So
one thing I saw on Twitter was that it took 11 days away from the season is when Brandon Ayuk got signed. His number's number 11. Anyway, before we get into our long segment, because it's a lot more to talk about for the NFL and San Francisco 49ers, do we have any updates that we want to talk about for the Kings?
Yeah, quick little Kings update. So at the end of Season 1, our last episode was hours before we got DeMar DeRozan to sign.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny that we actually hinted that hey, he's in town. We got him. That's awesome. But the more recent news is Kevin Huerter. So for those of you who don't remember, at the end of last season, both him and Monk were injured. Monk with the route of, I don't need surgery. Huerter said, I do need surgery. So he had soldier surgery. I don't remember which soldier it was, but he had shoulder. Sorry. Anyway, it's the weekend, right? Okay, shoulder surgery. Well, with the just yesterday, the Kings put out this news release that said he's recovering and he's now approved to do on-court activities and do strength training. So he's not approved for any contact or playing games, but that is a good step of saying he's available now to start shooting and do those types of things.
Yes.
But it also said they're not going to look at him again until middle of October. Well, that means he's going to miss the first couple weeks of training camp. Who knows if he'll be ready for the beginning of the regular season. Now, soon into the regular season, he probably will be available. But that also leads to if your starters are going to be Fox, DeMar DeRozan, Keegan Murray, and Sabonis, it's who's the fifth starter?
Keon Ellis.
Probably Keon Ellis. Yes, because you probably still want Monk coming off the bench because he's your great sixth man. And I kind of like Keon Ellis in there. But I could also see the shooting with Kevin Huerter could also be a great thing for spacing-wise. But I guess we won't let this try that out in training camp. So anyway.
Before we move on to the NFL and Niners news, where do you see right now, at least, the Kings and the rest of the Western Conference playing out, seeding-wise?
Yeah, so ESPN put something out recently that said the Kings would be the sixth spot for the next season.
I agree with.
I actually think they're probably right in the maybe 4, 5, 6. I think maybe 5 and 6. I do think it's interesting. Like, if you look at what the Mavericks did, the Mavericks have Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic. What did they do in the playoffs? They were really good at closing the game. What do the Kings now have? They have Fox and DeMar DeRozan, two of the best closers. Like, Fox won Clutch Player of the Year the first year it was available, 2 years ago.
Yep.
The first Beam Team year. Last year, Fox fell off a little bit, but DeMar DeRozan was third that year.
The first year that Fox won it, DeMar DeRozan was second in voting for Clutch Player.
I
of
thought
the
he
Year.
was third.
Second.
Okay, well then he was second last year too. Mm-hmm. So DeRozan was second. So like you have two of the best closers on the Kings. So like that's huge. Like you could totally as long as you keep the games close, and then you got Fox, DeRozan, and I think Sterling Monk is another good player out there as well. You're like, who's the defense going to key on? So I think that's an awesome part. We're not talking too much Kings, but that's a really good point. That'll be fun. I think they're probably going to end up. We'll get our King season predictions in October. Here on September Labor Day. Right now, I'd say they're above 50, and I think they're probably going to be at the fifth spot. Is what I'm going to say.
For me, the standings in my mind look like the Nuggets 1, counting down. The Nuggets 1, Thunder 2, and then it goes. You can. I don't know 100%. You can switch these. The Timberwolves or the Mavericks are like the neck and neck with each other. They're really good playoff teams, being in the Western Conference Finals last year. So, but the Nuggets and Thunder are really good regular season teams. And then I think the Clippers are going to be the 5th seed.
I don't think the Clippers are going to be that good. They lost Paul George, remember?
I
think if Phoenix Suns, though, is healthy, I think that they're going to be right around the Kings as well, if they're healthy.
I don't know why. I just feel good about the Clippers. I feel like they're going to have a better bench depth this year.
Well, they have a better. They have a brand new arena, so maybe they'll give them a little extra boost. But anyway, okay.
And then I think the Kings are going to be 6th after that, and then the 7th spot I have the Grizzlies.
Okay, they're coming back with John Morant.
And then I have the Phoenix Suns as the 8th seed.
Okay.
And then the Warriors and the Rockets.
Where's the Suns at then? Did you say?
I just said the Suns were the 7th.
Oh, okay. Okay. I thought you said somebody else was 7th.
No.
I thought you said Grizzlies were 7th.
No, I said Suns were 8th.
Okay.
And then 9 and 10 are Rockets and Warriors.
Okay. And I don't expect the Suns to be healthy all season, so that's probably about right. Okay. So there's our NBA segment for the day, but it's Labor Day.
Labor Day.
And we have football now for NFL football for the next, next 21 weekends. There will be NFL football.
It's a great season.
It's an awesome season. So, can I get a little fun thing note here? Little Stephen Eastman, back in elementary school, wrote a paper. And it was one of those things, it's like the teacher said in elementary school, hey, write about your favorite holiday. So almost everybody writes either about Christmas or Thanksgiving, maybe a little Easter. I wrote about Labor Day was my favorite holiday. So welcome to my favorite holiday here as we record episode 1 of season 2. It is Labor Day. It is my
Why is Labor Day your favorite holiday?
Because of football.
Yeah.
It's the start of football season. Yeah. Okay. So there we are. Let's start a football season. And let's start talking about football. So we got the Brandon Ayuk out of the way. You want to give the update about Ricky Pearsall?
Ricky Pearsall, as announced about, I'm going to say 2 days ago. Yesterday?
No, it was Saturday.
Saturday, 2 days ago. It was announced that he was shot through the chest through a, I think, failed robbery attempt.
Something like that.
During the struggle with a gun. Honestly, hero move. I heard that people want to start calling him John Rick because of his what sounds like he reached for the gun and started fighting with it with the robber. And the robber also got shot, which somehow means that he was, I think, winning in that altercation because he's a football player.
He was. We have no idea what the other person is. All we know is it's a 17-year-old from Tracy, and you got Ricky Pearsall, who's 23, buff dude. Now, he was alone when this happened.
Yes.
It was after a signing. He was in downtown San Francisco at some signing event in Union Square area. So, but he was released from the hospital yesterday, which is awesome news. His mom posted on Facebook that it was a through and through, so the bullet didn't stay in, did not require surgery, which is awesome and great news. But then today, and as we're recording this, it's about an hour ago, the Niners put him on the non-football injury list, which means he's out for the first 4 weeks of the season.
Which is
unfortunate. But Max and I were talking earlier, we have no idea, what's the normal recovery time from a gunshot wound? No idea.
I haven't had a time in my life where I had to worry about someone recovering from a gunshot wound, let alone someone on the Niners.
Yeah.
I forget exactly his name, but guy on the running back on the Commanders got shot 8 times in the leg and came back 8 weeks later to play. So I have no idea what the time for getting shot is.
Yeah, and like he got shot in the chest, but there is video of him walking around and while he's holding his chest, like I think it was actually over here, maybe he's holding his chest, and it was like he was sitting down with the paramedics. Like, so he was walking around even though he got shot, which is okay. But you still got shot. Like how? Okay, if he only takes 4 weeks to recover, awesome. He's healthy. We invested a lot in our first round pick. If you start looking at the depth of the the Niners. I'm really glad we got Jacob Cowing. He actually looked really good in preseason. I think this is also when you need Ayuk back. You got Chris Conley. You got Juan Jennings. So I think we'll be fine at the beginning of the season from a team-wise. But thank you, Lord, that Ricky Pearsall did get more seriously damaged, hurt. So thank you for the speedy recovery, Ricky. Okay, what do we have next here?
Do you want to have some fun?
Oh, well, I wanted to talk a little about, do you follow Max doesn't follow as much, who made the 53, the original 53, which I think is interesting because like they always say some people say you made the 53, but it's the initial 53 because a day later it changed. And then a couple days later it changed again. So you're like, the 53 is like, it's always like an ebb and flow. It's always changing. I do think there was some interesting things that people got cut. Like we were totally expecting Danny Gray from last year's draft got cut.
Yeah.
Okay, but they also drafted 2 tight ends last year, Cameron Latu, and then Willis, something Willis. And anyway, so they both got cut. So both tight ends got cut. Now, they did bring Willis back, and Latu signed somewhere else. They brought Willis back on the practice squad. But then they also drafted 2 linebackers last year, Jalen Graham and D. Winters. Well, they only kept Winters. Jalen Graham he got cut. So like last year's draft class, not very good. This year's draft class is looking way good. Like we're probably having a rookie Pooney starting on the offensive line.
He was the one bright spot in our O-line during the preseason.
Well, and Kingston was a guy he was drafted in the 7th round, and he might have been the 6th round, 6th or 7th round. And he was looking decent, but they didn't keep him. And then somebody else, actually, I forget what team it was, somebody else picked him up off of waivers. So we didn't even get to like send him back to the practice squad. The Niners did lose 3 players through the practice or through 2 other teams picking them up via waivers, which was Corey Schrader, which was a really good running back. I forget who picked him up. And then there was somebody else that we cut and they got picked up and we didn't get to put on the practice squad. But anyway, so that's some of the the roster depth things of looking at where we got from transactions and stuff.
I forget exactly what his name is, but who's the rookie defensive lineman that we drafted who was getting double teamed in, I think it was the Saints game. Oh,
it wasn't a draft. It was a free agent signing. Malik Collins.
He full on grabbed one guy, threw him to the ground, grabbed the other O-lineman, threw him to the ground, and got the running back.
Oh, yeah, that was an awesome play. So he's the guy that we picked up to sort of replace Eric Armstead.
Yeah,
and you're like, okay, we needed somebody to improve our defense.
He looked pretty good.
Our run defense. You're like, yeah, just keep doing that, dude. Yeah. Just throw offensive linemen around. You know, he made them look like ragdolls out there. You're like, man, like Trent Williams on the defensive line or something like that, you know? Anyway, so any other kind of roster news you want to talk about before the fun starts?
I don't think so.
Okay, what's your fun thing you want to start with?
Fun thing. So I have 2 things I want to do with predicting the season.
Okay.
The first one is, who do you think is going to win each division?
Okay.
So let's start off with the easy one. Who do you think is going to win the NFC West?
The Niners.
Maybe.
Okay, I'm going Niners.
I want to save them for later, but who do you the South, because they're a wild card team. Honestly, I can see literally any team winning that division.
Except for Carolina.
I can see Carolina. I don't think anyone in the division is good enough to win a playoff game this year.
Yeah.
Besides maybe the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers are my choice to win the division again.
Okay, do you want my prediction on the NFC South?
Sure.
I'm going to go Atlanta Falcons because of Kirk Cousins. So that's my reasoning. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and then let's go with the NFC East.
NFC East.
I think it's going to be Cowboys because Cowboys are a really good regular season team. I'm going to leave it at that.
A lot of other teams are picking the Eagles. They traded for the Commanders, another wide receiver. And
They got
Saquon
yeah.
Barkley. Just to be different, I think it's Cowboys and Eagles is your choice there.
Yeah.
Like the Giants, I don't really with. Like the Commanders could even be better than the Giants. Like I don't have much faith in the Giants. I'm gonna say Eagles just to be something different.
Okay.
Because I think it's going back and forth.
And then last for the NFC, who do you have? NFC North.
NFC North. Well, I think it's going to come down to Packers and Lions.
Of course.
Which the Niners played both of those in the playoffs. They're both really good. I think both are going to be better even this year. Like if you're looking at like the top 3 teams in the NFC, it's Niners, Packers, and Lions. Like I think both Packers and Lions have gone above the Cowboys and Eagles. I'll go Lions.
I was thinking about going Lions because I feel like they have a better schedule than the Packers do.
Okay.
They have an easier schedule, even though they were the first seed. But I feel like the Packers are going to be a better constructed team because the Packers, Jordan Love is a better quarterback, in my opinion, than Jared Goff because he has less weapons than Goff does, yet he still won 9 games with them, still made the divisional round.
And he had a really young wide receivers last year, and they grew throughout the season and got better. So I do think this year those wide receivers will be better. So I could totally see the Packers winning. I'll stick with my Lions pick if you're going Packers.
I'm going to go Packers.
Okay, that's good for the podcast to have a little difference. See who wins this. AFC.
AFC East. Who do you have? I have
Definitely the Patriots. Sorry.
it's kind of nice to be able to say that the Patriots aren't going to win the AFC East after
after like
that
20
much.
years, 20 years. So you got the Bills, Dolphins, and Jets. And in some ways, any of those 3 could really win it. I'm going to go Buffalo, though.
I'm going to go with the Jets. I think that the Bills are going to be worse than a lot of people say they are going to be this year because as much as a good business decision it is to not have Stephon Diggs on a team, he's still Stephon Diggs and a really good wide receiver. So I think that not having a number 1 receiver is going to hurt them a lot. Okay. Unless they're able to find someone.
I mean, they did draft somebody, I think, it wasn't a first-round pick. But anyway, and the Dolphins, don't count with the Dolphins. I mean, really, any of those 3 could win it. I still go. I'll pick Buffalo. You got the Jets.
Okay, and then for this is fun, except for maybe one of them. Who do you think is going to win the AFC North? For me, this all depends on Joe Burrow, whether he is healthy or not.
Well, I think it's going to come down to Bengals and Ravens. Steelers are probably going to be. Well, I know Russell Wilson or Justin Fields, and then do you really trust Deshaun Watson as the Browns? So I think you're down to Bengals and Ravens.
And coming down to that, it comes down to the Bengals and is Joe Burrow healthy? Because
that's true, yes.
For me, the Bengals are a better team than the Ravens, but because of how good of a quarterback Joe Burrow is, and if they don't have him, they're not able to do as much as they can. Because the Bengals, with a fully healthy Joe Burrow, was able to go to the Super Bowl 2 years ago.
And I think they're going to come back. The Ravens, though, didn't they get Derrick Henry? So, but I also heard they got Derrick Henry, but they lost 3 offensive linemen. And so you lost 3 offensive linemen, but you're supposed to run a whole lot.
Derrick Henry is like an offensive lineman, but he has running back legs. So.
Yeah. So I'll go Bengals.
I was thinking Bengals as well.
Okay. Next one, the AFC South. You go first on this one.
Okay? As a person who has picked C.J. Stroud in all of his fantasy leagues, I say the Texans.
You don't have him in one fantasy league because the one we're in together.
Oh yeah,
I have C.J. Stroud.
My bad.
In that one.
In the other 2 that I'm in, I picked C.J. Stroud.
Yes. So I think it's going to come down to in that one. It's probably Texans and probably Jaguars. I think the Colts and the Titans. I mean, in some world they probably could.
I don't trust the Titans.
But I'll go Texans too. I think C.J. Stroud is pretty good. And now they got Stephon Diggs. They have Nico Collins. I have him on one of my fantasy teams.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize how tall he was. I read yesterday. He was like 6'7".
It's a large man.
Yeah,
That is
as a wide receiver, he's 6'7".
That's like Calvin Johnson height.
That's like a tight end,
Yeah.
like huge old height. So
That's NBA center height.
not center,
Power forward.
Yeah, that's more of a wing.
That's a
but
tall.
yeah,
That's
a tall wide receiver.
That is a
Yeah. So, I'll take Texans.
okay.
Okay, AFC West.
Is there a choice here? Like, do any of the teams actually beat the Chiefs?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, looking at, I don't even know who the second best team in that division is.
I think it's the Chargers because the Raiders are not going to be good this year, and I think the Broncos are going to stay as 8 and 9, third seed. I think the Chargers are going to be better because they actually have a head coach now instead of Brandon Staley.
Yes, but they don't have any wide receivers. Like, who's going to catch the ball there?
You have
I drafted Palmer like as a very end of the draft flyer because he's the number 1 wide receiver on the Chargers.
That's sad.
But it's like it was at the end of the draft I picked it up. Like, and this is a 25 player draft that I've.
You have Jim Harbaugh as your head coach. How much are you actually throwing the ball?
Good question. So,
especially since he just adopted the running back core from the Ravens.
Yeah. So I totally think the Raiders, Broncos, and Chargers are playing for second place in that division. Are the Raiders, Gardner Minshew is your starting quarterback? Like, how old is this guy? Isn't he like upper 30s, like 37, 38? And you start him over Aiden McConnell? Like, why unless you're going after, we're going to start Gardner Minshew until he runs out of gas. Because he always usually starts really good against teams. Like, he usually has, like,
he almost got the Colts into the playoffs last year. He was one game away from doing that.
He can play good. I just don't think he has longevity.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, maybe he starts the first half of the season, and then you go to Aiden McConnell again. If you think Aiden McConnell's, is it McConnell? Anyway, he's going to be your long-term answer. The other question about the Raiders is, when will Devontae Adams request a trade? He's like 31, and he's playing on a team that's going nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. I saw that somewhere else, and you're like, I could totally see him requesting a trade soon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So there's our quick rundown of all the different divisions. One other fun thing we're going to do.
Which we already kind of answered.
Yes. But let's go for the funness of this one here is, normally in the NFL, there is a team that goes from the worst in their division to the best. Almost every year, there is at least one. So I'll list off who are the 8 teams that finished in last place last year, and let's see, who do you think is going to go worst to first, Max?
The Patriots.
It's definitely the Patriots. So Patriots is option number 1. Number 2 is the Tennessee Titans. Number 3 is the Los Angeles Chargers.
Yeah.
Number 4 will go Washington Commanders. Number 5 is the Bears. Do you believe in Caleb Williams in that rebuilt team? Do you believe in Bryce Young and his second team on the Carolina Panthers?
Okay.
Or do you believe in Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals? Or
do you believe in the Cincinnati Bengals?
Yeah, Cincinnati Bengals were 9-8 last year, and they were in last place. And that was with Joe Burrow not playing a whole season. So I think we both already picked the Bengals winning that division.
So we kind of already answered the
that
question.
Is there any other team, though?
Like I said, I think anyone in the NFC South can win that.
So you think Carolina could?
I think Carolina could. I don't think they're going to actually win it. I think at best, like I said, they can win it. I don't think they're going to. At best, for me, the Panthers are going to be the second team.
At best, yeah.
The second in the NFC South. I think the Saints are going to be the worst team in that division because they refuse to rebuild. They're just stuck in mediocrity and trying to hold on to. Hey, we had Drew Brees once.
Yeah, once. Now you have Derek Carr. Which is he's a middle of the road quarterback. He's better than most, but he's middle.
He's Derek Carr.
He's decent.
Yeah, at least it's not Daniel Jones.
I would take him over Daniel Jones. I don't know if I'll take him over Bryce Young, but we'll see how Bryce Young's going to do.
Because Bryce, whatever.
Yeah. The only other team that I'm like, Chargers. Could the Chargers beat the Chiefs?
I think
if Patrick Mahomes gets injured, sure.
Well,
anyway.
Hold on.
Okay. We're checking our audio here.
Is your storage full? Because it just stopped. Oh. It's there now. That's weird.
Okay. Are we good?
Our camera's cut out. That was weird.
Okay, yeah, so we're still working out these camera things here. Okay, so back to our thing here. Could the Commanders, or the Asking Chargers, could the Commanders,
The Commanders can't. I think they're going to be the 3rd seed. I think
Yeah.
the Giants are contending for the worst team in the league this year.
Could the Bears be worst to first?
I don't know.
There's a lot of people that are on the Bear hype train.
Yeah, they're definitely going to not be last. It's a definite for me that the Vikings are going to be last this year.
I mean, they were both 7-10 last year, so they were tied.
That doesn't change much when you have Sam Darnold as a quarterback.
I think Kyle Shanahan rebuilt him a little bit. I think sitting on the bench last year was under Brock Purdy. He actually says in some interviews he was saying I learned from Brock Purdy.
Mm-hmm. But for me, Sam Darnold is either he's going to be a really he has two sides of him. He's going to be a really, really good quarterback who throws for 4 touchdowns in a game, or a really bad quarterback who throws for 4 interceptions in a game and loses his team the game because he thought his receiver was there. I think it's going to be an ugly season for the Vikings. I also just feel bad for them. There's always one team that the injury bug just hits, and that seems to be the Vikings this year.
Okay, hey, one other good question since we're doing predictions for the season.
Who's going to make the playoffs?
We'll come to that's the last one. So there's one more I want to give you. This is we did not talk about this, so this is off the cuff here. We're playing on this one here and see what you do. Okay, rookie quarterbacks.
There
was 6 rookie quarterbacks taken in the first round. We'll read them off. Which one do you think is going to do the best in just the first year? Just the first year. Well, because that's all we're going to look at this year. Caleb Williams, Bears. Jaden Daniels of the Commanders.
Rest in peace, J.J. McCarthy. You will be missed.
Yeah, Drake May of the Patriots. Michael Penix of the Falcons. J.J. McCarthy of the Vikings, or Bo Nix of the Broncos. So there's your 6. I would eliminate 2 real easy.
J.J. McCarthy.
Actually, 3 I could eliminate really quick.
I think that Drake May is going to come through after 6 or 5 games of Jacoby Brissett, but I don't think he's going to have enough impact to be he's the best quarterback in this class.
At least for the first year. And Penix is probably not going to play unless Cousins gets hurt. And McCarthy's already out for the year. So that's the 3 that I would immediately take out.
I think that Jaden Daniels is going to be sort of like an Anthony Richardson, and it feels weird to say this, but I'm predicting that he's going to get injured some point this season, and then he's not going to be able to play the rest of the season.
Just like the Redskins' old Commanders, they did
RG3.
RG3 when he was their last big draft pick.
It feels weird predicting this, that the quarterback's going to get injured, but with how he plays and how I've seen him in preseason play, I feel like he's going to go an Anthony Richardson route where he gets injured and can't play the rest of the season. Or he gets injured, so then we just don't have enough info on him.
Yeah, I mean, he was at the Heisman Trophy last year, so I think you're down to Caleb Williams or Bo Nix.
And have you looked at any of the tape from Bo Nix in the preseason?
No, I have not studied Bronco tape very much. But anyway, go ahead. Go ahead.
Why not?
Why not?
I think the Broncos are going to be kind of good this year. I think they're going to win at most 9 games.
Okay.
Which is not going to be in the playoffs this year, but
9-8? Okay.
It's not terrible.
Okay.
They're still going to be behind the Chargers and the Chiefs, but
okay.
And then there's Caleb Williams, who has their GM assembling the Avengers around him to make sure that he can do as well as possible. And he seems to be living up to the hype as well. He's making really good on the run passes, and he's just doing great doing other stuff that quarterbacks need to do. There were some parts, especially early in the preseason, where you could see the growing pains that he was having. I think some of that is going to come into play, especially during the first weeks of the season of growing out the kinks that he has. But I feel like it's going to be Caleb Williams that's going to be the best quarterback in this class. Like, I feel like just with the amount of talent that he has around him, it's going to be really hard for him to not look better than other people. Like, Bo Nix might be better later down because he had to develop with other people, or J.J. McCarthy even, honestly, this is a really good quarterback class. Like if you think about it long term, like
Well, I mean, but if you look back when the Niners drafted Trey Lance and you had Zach Wilson and Justin Fields.
I never
and
trusted in Zach Wilson, to be honest.
Yeah. So anyway, I mean, like, there's been some good, but I do think this will be a better draft class than some of the more recent ones, like the 2022 draft.
Yeah.
Brock Purdy
And Skylar Thompson are the only two players who are on the teams that drafted them.
and they were like the last two drafted in the whole draft. Out of the, like, there was like 10 or something.
Skylar
drafted.
Thompson's just the backup for Tua, and then there's
Yeah.
Brock Purdy doing Brock Purdy things.
Yeah, that's why I have Brock Purdy here. Anyway, so yeah, that's a good question there. So I if I was to pick, I just want to go for a flyer and say Bo Nix. I
thought you said you weren't watching Broncos tape.
I know, but I did listen to interviews from Sean Payton, and Sean Payton is enamored with the guy. But I do think
He was enamored with Taysom Hill.
But Caleb Williams, there was some interesting stuff that came out about him. Was when the Bears were doing their normal interviews, and they did as many interviews as they could that were allowed pre-draft with the Bears. The interesting thing we heard about what they were doing is they actually started installing the offense. Like, they were not interviewing him. They were going over plays and starting to, like, here's the play, and here's a play, and here's how we run it. They were starting to teach him the offense before the draft. Like, it was a foregone conclusion. Yeah, we're drafting you. Let's start going over the playbook. So that's an interesting way to go, and we'll see if it pays off. Okay, what's the last set of predictions you want us to do here? Max?
I want to do two more things before we wrap up this
two more.
episode. Well, three maybe.
Okay.
What do you think the playoff picture is going to look like for this season?
Okay, so who are the 7 teams that's going to make it? Okay, I probably should have spent a little more time on this, but let's say here. Okay, we want to do NFC or AFC first?
Let's go with AFC first.
Okay, AFC first. Yeah.
Okay, so the number 1 seed.
Are you gonna you list off your 7?
Okay, number 1 seed is the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm not happy about it.
Okay.
And then number 2, the Cincinnati Bengals.
Okay.
Number 3, I forget who I said for the AFC East. I'm pretty sure I said
You said the Jets.
I did say the Jets. Number 4 is going to be the Houston Texans.
Okay.
And then this is where the fun begins. Number 5 is the Buffalo Bills.
Okay.
Number 6 are the Baltimore Ravens.
Okay.
And number 7 are the Los Angeles Chargers.
Ooh. Okay. He's saying the Dolphins are not going to make the playoffs. Okay.
I just think the Dolphins are in a really tough division for them this year.
Okay.
With the Jets being better, actually having a quarterback that's not Zach Wilson.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go through my teams here. So my division winners. Who am I going to put first? I'm going to put Cincinnati number 1.
Interesting.
I would like to see Kansas City only get 3 or 4 because I think that they are they're going to walk through the regular season in some ways. But they're in such a bad division. They're going to be second. Okay. I'm going to say Houston Texans is 3rd. And then the AFC East because they're so good. Buffalo's going to be 4.
Okay.
And then I'm going to say Jets are 5. Then I'll say Ravens 6 with you, and I'm going to go Dolphins 7. Okay, so there it is.
Not that different.
It's not that much different.
Why do you believe in the Dolphins?
I believe in more than the Chargers. I mean, they're kind of like Niners deep south. So I think them with Tyreek Hill and they have a whole bunch of speedsters down there. I think the Dolphins are really good on offense. I don't think they can win the division. I don't think they're going to win the playoffs, but I think they're a really good team.
I feel like this is going to be a weird year for the Dolphins because of how good the Jets and the Bills are going to be. I have them in my mind winning 1 game against the Bills, and they're going to be swept by the Jets. And then they have 2 free wins against the Patriots, but otherwise in their schedule, it's not going to be that easy for them. I don't have them winning a lot of games. So for me, it feels weird to say the Dolphins, who scored 70 points last season, aren't going to make the playoffs. But they're not going to make the playoffs, in my opinion.
That's Max's prediction. Okay, NFC.
Number 1 seed, I am going to go with the Dallas Cowboys. because
Okay.
I think they are an excellent regular season team. It's really hard to beat them in the regular season.
Unless you're the Niners.
Don't quote me on that. They're a really good regular season team.
Okay.
And then number 2, I have the San Francisco 49ers. Number
Okay.
3, I have the Green Bay Packers. And number 4, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Number 5 is the Detroit Lions. Number 6 are the Philadelphia Eagles. And number 7 are the LA Rams.
Okay.
So the 2 LA teams are the 7th seeds.
Okay. That's it. We'll go for that.
Mm-hmm.
Did you say the Eagles?
I said the Eagles were the 6th seed.
Okay. Just the processing, going a
Am
little slow.
I saying it too fast?
Yeah, you're still too fast there, for this old man over here, Okay. Okay, keep going
Okay,
here.
then sure.
Okay, mine. Do I want to go the homer pick as number 1? I mean, the Niners,
Don't deny it.
the Niners are the best team. I'm going to go number 1.
The Niners are the only team favored in every single game that they're playing this season.
I know. And so you're like, no, they're not going to go 17-0. Well, I think we get to wins total.
Why not? Why can't we?
If we could. I just don't think it's going to happen. So I'm going to go Niners number 1.
Mm-hmm.
I said Detroit was going to win that division, so I'm going to say they're number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Then let's see. Who did I say? Did I say the Eagles? I said Eagles were going to win that division, so they're going to be
Okay.
3. And then Falcons are 4 because I said that's who's going to win the NFC South.
Okay.
Okay, now wild card teams here. Okay, so I think the Rams are going to make it.
Do you have specific seedings for them?
No, let's go through. 5 is the Packers.
Okay.
Okay. 6 is the Cowboys,
Mm-hmm.
and 7 is the Rams.
Got it.
I don't know if that's very much. That's probably not much different between us. Maybe a different order. Now I said Falcons. You said Buccaneers. Not a whole lot of difference between the two of us. We'll listen to this in like 17, 18 weeks and see if we're.
Okay. And last thing
Looking
before
really
we
good.
move on to our Niners prediction of the schedule,
Uh-huh.
through going through each game, which is gonna be fun.
We're gonna do every game.
Yeah. Why
Okay.
not?
Okay, let's go for it.
We're Niners fans. We know a lot about them.
Okay.
I think. I hope.
Okay, let's go for it.
What is your Super Bowl predictions? You can't be home about this. You have to actually think logically.
Well, if I was gonna pick the AFC representative, I so want to pick somebody besides Kansas City. But I'm like, who's gonna beat them?
If Joe Burrow is healthy for me, they're gonna win.
Okay.
And if the Joe Burrow is not healthy, then they're not gonna win. I
I also think CJ Stroud could beat Chiefs if he has a good enough team around him.
and Dad's camera just died. Okay, where he's gonna have a still photo of him for the rest of the episode. We're gonna pick the worst one in editing just to put up there.
Okay, thanks.
Just the worst freeze frame I can find.
Okay, we'll work on that next time. My AFC team or my Super Bowl prediction, I'm gonna go Kansas City.
Just say it.
Kansas City and the Niners again.
I say it's gonna be the Bengals and the Niners.
Okay.
For me a little bit, the Jets are a little overhyped with how good they're going to be with Aaron Rodgers. They're still going to be a really good team. They're definitely going to make the divisional round, but I don't think they're going to be as good as everyone says that they're going to be. Okay.
Oh, we have to pick the 4 games for week 1.
Oh yeah, that.
Okay. So during the season, we're going to pick 4 games each week. We're not going to pick all games, and we're going to pick our predictions for this game. And we may not have time to go through the. If you look at your clock there, we do have to get going. You do have a
Soccer practice.
soccer practice.
I'm pretty sure Coach will understand that I have a podcast.
I don't think so.
It's
You can
not
tell Coach Joe that we talked about this in the podcast. Coach says, your dad coach says, get to practice.
Fine.
Okay, so we don't have time to go through each.
For each week we're gonna try to do 4 games,
Yes.
including the Niners, each primetime game and the Niners, and if the Niners are in there, we're gonna choose one random game.
Yep.
Somehow.
Okay.
So first game of the season: Baltimore Ravens versus Kansas City Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you say? I have an answer.
Kansas City.
Okay.
They're a Super winner. They're always the home team. Well, they did lose last year.
They lost to the Lions last
They
year.
lost to the Lions last year.
That was because Travis Kelce and Chris Jones was hurt.
That's true. I think they're going to win. They're going to play off the win off the Super Bowl, and they get the trophy and all that. Some opening night celebration, they're going to get there. Who do you pick?
I think the Chiefs are also going to win. I think it's going to be a really, really close game between the Ravens and the Chiefs
Yeah.
because The Ravens aren't in the playoffs, so they can't choke away yet. So I think that it's going to be really, really close. I do see that the Ravens can win, but the Chiefs are going to be the winners eventually.
I mean, if you want to beat the Chiefs and you want to run the ball to slow the game down and keep the Patrick Mahomes
Derrick Henry is a really good.
I mean, you got Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson. Like, if that's the recipe to beat the Chiefs is to play keep away and take really long drives.
Yeah.
So I think the Ravens could do it. I just don't think they will this game.
Okay.
Next
First ever game in Brazil, the Green Bay Packers and the Philadelphia Eagles. Okay, I just want to say this, and I know people have said it a million times. Why did you choose the two green teams to play in the stadium that you can't wear green? Anyway, thank you.
Yes, for those of you who don't know, the stadium in Brazil, what is it, Corinthians? I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. Corinthians Arena in Sao Paulo.
You can't wear green.
Yeah, because their major rival is green, and they really outlaw. Like, you cannot wear green in the stadium as a fan or anything, so you can't. So you pick the Green Bay Packers and the Eagles, who their major colors are green.
Not the Niners, not the Vikings, not
there's so many other teams.
Not like the
Just
29 other 28 other teams that don't wear green.
Yeah, like don't put the Packers, the Eagles, the Jets,
the Seahawks.
Like, okay, anybody else.
There's so many choices.
I know, but they picked two green teams. Whatever.
Anyway,
who's your
onto the
prediction?
game. I think the Eagles are going to win.
Oh, I think the Packers are going to win.
Okay.
We're good. We're different. I like that. Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
The Rams-Lions, I think this is going to be a fun game to watch.
Okay.
It was a great game to watch.
Oh, yes, a rematch of a playoff game.
Wild card game. That was the only wild card game that was actually a fun game to watch.
Matthew Stafford versus Jared Goff. They were traded for each other. What's your prediction?
Sorry. This is really hard for me. I think that the Rams actually have a healthy Cooper Kupp, and they know that Puka Nacua is a good wide receiver now.
Okay.
But the Lions are also really good, and they have Amon-Ra St. Brown, who is somehow played through 16-something games of the season with his quad completely torn off the bone.
Yeah, if you didn't watch the receiver, you learn about how much injuries the wide receivers get. But anyway.
And you're just like, how are you alive?
Yes. Okay, so who are you picking?
This is so hard to pick. You do it. Let me think for a little. Let me cook for a little bit.
I'm going Lions. It's probably the boring home pick, but I'm going to go Lions.
I'll also go with the Lions. I don't want to keep picking the teams that are not favored. Because I think the Ravens are favored against the Chiefs because no one likes the Chiefs and wants to pick them.
Yeah.
Okay, Jets, San Francisco.
The Monday night game, Niners. Sorry, I'm boring.
Yeah.
They're the best team.
I think there are going to be some growing pains. I don't think that Trent Williams is going to be here yet.
That's a
for the
possibility.
Start of the season, which is going to be hard for Brock Purdy. He's going to be running for his life a lot of plays. But I don't see. This is going to be a hard game for the Niners to win. I know that you don't think.
I do agree. It's going to be a tough game.
It's going to be a tough game. It's going to looking back when we're not stressed about who's going to win. It's going to be a fun game to watch.
Mm-hmm.
But come on, man. I'm on the Eastman Sport Report, your one-stop shop for the Sacramento Kings and San Francisco 49ers news. Give me the Niners.
Okay. Will, for a fun prediction, do you think Leonard Floyd will sack Aaron Rodgers?
I think he'll get close, but I don't think he's going to sack him.
So for those of our listeners who don't remember, Leonard Floyd was on the Buffalo Bills last year. After 4 snaps last year, he sacked Aaron Rodgers and broke his Achilles. So what better way to start the season for Aaron Rodgers is to play the guy who just sacked you and broke your Achilles in the last game you played? Like, let's find his team and play you for your first game back in primetime.
Good job, schedule makers.
Yes, good job, schedule makers. So I think he's actually going to get a sack against Aaron Rodgers, and that'll be a big talking point. Like, how many times is that going to get mentioned? Probably 4 times or more.
Okay. We might have to go, but how about we just do the first 5 games of the season for the Niners?
Can we just do your season total?
I haven't counted.
Well, there's 17 games.
I know.
I'm predicting 13 wins.
I
think it's 13 to 14.
I think 14 is our ceiling and our floor is 12.
Okay.
Because I think that if we lose every game that I think we can lose, it's going to be the Chiefs, the Cowboys, even though I know you don't like that because
No, we're not
the
gonna lose the
Bills, and I think we're going to lose either between the Rams or the Lions. So I
the
think at most we're going to lose 4 games. But like, as I'm looking at the schedule, as I have looked through the schedule, I feel like this is going to be a really hard season this year, but we're the best roster in the NFL.
But it is a really tough schedule. I give you that. It is a really tough schedule.
I'd say our ceiling is 15 games.
Okay. Yeah.
Our floor is 12.
Okay.
And if we
you're
get
not
a
gonna-
repeat of the 2020 season where everyone gets injured, we win 2 games, and I'm fine with that. Because I understand if everyone gets hurt.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd be that, but anyway.
Now
Hey-
would not be favorable,
Yeah, that
but
would
like
not be
I
good.
understand if it happens.
Yeah, I understand what happens. Okay, so we're 40-something minutes into our, almost 50 minutes into our season 2, episode 1 of the Eastman Sport Report. Thanks for listening, everybody. We're back here. We're live on video. We're recorded on video. So if you watch us on YouTube, again, you're hopefully watching us and seeing us in person. If you're listening on Spotify, it'll still be audio. And we are looking for some other fun adventures to happen here in season 2.
Thank you for listening. Every listen that we get honestly means a lot to us.
It does. It's so awesome that you guys listen to us and our fun father-son project that we have together. So thank you very much for listening. We'll talk again next week.
Thank you for listening. Bye.